One of the most common types of care to receive after an auto accident is care from a chiropractor. If you have a neck or back injury, many people are going to go to a chiropractor or maybe a physical therapist to try to get better. And so one of the questions that we get all the time is who's responsible for my chiropractic bills after an auto accident? Hi, my name is Brian Glass. I'm an auto accident lawyer in Virginia, and what I'm about to explain to you about how to get your bills paid only applies to crashes that happen in Virginia. If you're in a different state, whatever your state's rules are, those are going to be the rules that apply. And America is one of these places where we got 50 different sets of rules for how we do things. So in Virginia, there are 3 possible sources of payment for your medical bill after a car accident. Number 1, and the place where you should be starting, is your health insurance. So this is counterintuitive to many people, right? I was in a crash. A driver insured by Geico hit me. Why doesn't Geico pay my medical bills? And they do, they just don't pay them right off the bat. Geico is going to be really third in line, and they're going to pay your bills, but only in exchange for a release of all of the other liability. And so you really don't want them paying early on, because as you continue to get medical care, they're not going to pay those bills as they come in. So the number 1 place to go is your health insurance. And a couple of years ago, Virginia passed a law that really codified what actually was supposed to be happening anyway, which is that medical care after an auto accident is no different from a billing perspective than medical care after you fall down your own stairs, or medical care after you get hurt playing sports, or preventative medical care. You want to be using your health insurance and billing your health insurance in the exact same way that you would any other time that you go to a doctor. And that means going to see somebody in network is probably your best bet, but you're going to pay your co-pays and your co-insurance every time you show up. What some chiropractors will do is say, oh, we won't bill your health insurance. We're going to hold the bill until the end of your case. And that sounds great in the beginning if you don't know what happens when they hold the bill to the end of the case. What happens is if they hold the bill to the end of the case, you're going to pay 100% of that bill, most likely, and not just your co-pays or your co-insurance. So if you have health insurance, it's really important that you go to a doctor who's in network with your health insurance. In Virginia, they are required to bill your health insurance, and if they don't, their bill goes to $0, right? It doesn't come back on you if they make a mistake and fail to bill your health insurance. There are some rules about you having to pay your health insurance back at the end of a case if you get a recovery from a third party. That's called subrogation, and we've got a couple of other videos on this channel discussing subrogation and liens. So if you get a notice from your insurer saying we have a right of subrogation or this is a notice of a lien, you want to check out those other videos and make sure that you're doing all that correctly. But number 1, if you've been in an auto accident and you start to get medical bills, you want to make sure that the doctor has your health insurance information, and you want to be paying your co-pays and your co-insurance as you go along. Second source of places that might pay your medical bills after an accident is also one of your insurance policies, and that's your auto policy. And again, when I explain this to people, it is completely counterintuitive. They go, he hit me, why are we going after my insurance policy? Here's why. On your auto policy, you might have something called medical expense benefits. That is a benefit that is a separate premium that you've been paying for all these years that when you're in a crash, you should use, right? Or else just get rid of that coverage and stop paying that premium. But if you've been paying it, let's use it. MedPay pays your health insurance payment, and this is where it gets a little complicated. MedPay pays 3 things. Number 1, if you don't have health insurance, it acts as though it's your health insurance, and it pays the doctor's bill. Number 2, if you do have health insurance, what MedPay pays is your health insurance payment plus your out-of-pocket cost. So let's say you have a $100 bill for a visit, and your out-of-pocket cost, your copay is $30, and your health insurance pays another $30, and the doctor has to write off, because he's in network, the $40. When you go to your MedPay carrier, they're going to write you a check for $60, right? Because that's the actual paid cost. In some states, that's called the paid cost, and that is what you can claim in an auto accident. In Virginia, you can claim the whole thing. You can claim the whole $100 from the liability carrier, but from your MedPay carrier, you claim the actual paid cost. What you paid out of pocket plus anything that your health insurance company paid. Okay, so we've talked about health insurance, we've talked about MedPay. The third place that you're going to look is the one that comes naturally. It's the driver that hit you. His insurance company is responsible to you for your medical bills, your lost earnings, and your pain, suffering, and inconvenience. And I mentioned it just a minute ago, but the amount of medical bills that he's responsible for is the retail price of the medicine. It is whatever is on the top line face of the bill before your payments, before health insurance payments, before any write-offs, top line face of the bill. That's what the other driver's insurance company is responsible for. If you're one of those unfortunate people that's hit by somebody who doesn't have his own insurance, then we go back to your policy and we're looking at your uninsured or your underinsured coverage. And again, people go, why are we at my policy? Well, it's because the other guy doesn't have any coverage. People that don't have coverage often don't have any money. If you want to get a recovery for this case, we got to look back at your policy. So those are the three places that might pay your chiropractic bills after an auto accident. To recap, number one is your in-network health insurance policy. Number two is your auto policy, looking at your medical expense payments, benefits. And number three is the liability carrier for the driver that hit you. In Virginia, you can access all three. It's called double dipping or triple dipping, and you can collect money from all three pockets of insurance. Virginia is a consumer-friendly state in that way. In many other ways, we are not, because if you're 1% at fault, and we talk about that in different videos, you can't recover anything. But if you are 0% at fault and you have health insurance, auto insurance, and your crash was caused by somebody else, good news, you can triple dip. You can recover money from all three of those sources to pay your chiropractic bills.